In the heart of the country, there was a little town called Goodwill, where good people lived. On the town's outskirts, just by the river, stood a small two-story house with a veranda, owned by a very kind and helpful woman named Agatha. Decades before, Agatha had opened a cafe on the house's first floor, where for 30 years every dawn, she had prepared breakfast for the townspeople who stopped by on their morning commute to work. It was more than just pancakes and coffee that attracted patrons every morning. People visited Agatha's home for the smiles and kind words. Agatha had a granddaughter, Sharon, she was very fond of. In the summer, Sharon would visit her grandmother in Goodwill and help in the cafe. In the evenings, Shireen liked to listen to the kind and clever fairy tales that Agatha was accustomed to sharing. More than once, her grandmother instructed her to believe everything that was spoken. "Believe in miracles," Agatha repeated more than once. "I'm not a little girl anymore to believe in fairy tales. At one time, I believed you and looked for miracles in life, but I couldn't find anything that looked even remotely like a miracle." "I think it's all in your head," Shireen added, disappointedly. "There are no miracles in life." Agatha fell silent, looking enigmatically at Shireen, and said, "Tomorrow I'll take you with me. We'll sew something." In the morning after breakfast, Agatha closed the cafe and led Shireen into town. Agatha regularly took a basket of groceries every week to Mrs. Bean, a lovely elderly lady. When Shireen was done, Agatha and Shireen continued their walk, till they came across one Mrs. Gerber. The elderly lady was pruning bushes in the garden with such difficulty, for each bend of the knee caused great pain. Agatha asked Shireen to give Mrs. Gerber a hand. Shireen picked up all the branches, put them in a garden wheelbarrow, and helped carry them to the dumpster. When Shireen was done, Agatha led Shireen on their way till they reached their intended destination. The lovely Mrs. Bean was already waiting for them, greeted them, and led them inside her home. She offered tea and biscuits that were already placed on the table. Mrs. Bean entertained Agatha and Sharon for an hour with tales of the latest news, until Agatha and Shireen left to return home. Upon arriving home, Shireen looked at her grandmother disappointedly and asked, "Well, what did we sew? We just walked around town." "Not at all," replied Agatha cryptically. The next morning, Agatha and Shireen were greeted with gifts: a bouquet of white gardenias from Mr. Floor, a basket of apples from Mrs. Gerber, and a fresh raspberry pie from Mrs. Bean. "My dear," Agatha spoke softly, "if you try to be good and kind, all the fairy tales in your life will come true. Remember, don't look for miracles. They come to good people by themselves. Kindness is the most beautiful miracle on earth, and like a sown seed, it is sure to return with fruit to those who have a responsive heart and willingly help others."